Welcome to the Online Health Business Academy podcast. My name's Jav,
Coach Mike.
and today we're going to talk about high ticket versus low ticket. This is important because if you've been doing online coaching for a little while, you might be of the school of one product, high ticket, max that out, or maybe some of you may come from, the school of thought where, you sell a low ticket product to loads of people.
Yeah.
I think things have changed a little bit now, but yeah, we're going to dive into that. So, Michael, any first thoughts regarding that?
Yeah, man. I set the stage, right? I set the tone. So we was in Dubai. When was it?
November? Yeah, December.
Yeah, November, December, I believe, right? Because that was our event, after our event. So we were in a fitness event, a muscle show. And I was talking to a guy, right? Someone told me, talk to my guy here, he works at this company. And we was talking, right? I was talking, and he was talking about a low ticket. And I was like, okay. But a low ticket thing, I don't really think it can work, I don't think even for like influencers, what we've heard is that it takes a lot of scale, it takes a whatever. And then he said something to the tune of like, well, 100 million generated in revenue says different. I immediately, I wanted to argue and I said, well, you're right. Do you know what I mean? That is true. And I think that kind of led me to just think about the low ticket thing and then it just kept it in my mind. And then looking at the industry and what's going on and everything like that, it made me realize that, well, and I always kind of had that thought, when we were selling high ticket and everything like that, and you'd think that maybe in a year or half a year, you might do 100 calls, 100 sales calls, right? Yeah, even because you aim for like 20, 30 calls plus a month. So in half a year, you've had like 200 calls, right? Minimum. And I think that, well, you're closing about 30 to 40% generally. So that means 60%, 120 of those calls are just gone. They're just disappearing. So what if you sold a low ticket program to those people? Do you know what I mean? That's an extra 10 to 20,000 pounds in your bank from that. So that's where my head was at with the low ticket. And then looking into it, I realized that, yeah, it is a lot of money left on the cards. One of our mentors did say that. He said it to me. He said, sometimes it's better to take, something and keep the revenue flowing with people. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the low ticket and where I'm more at now.
Yeah.
Coaches.
I think that the thing with the low ticket, is learning how to adapt the program so that it works for that person. Because if you're giving the person that's paying you £300 a month the same service as someone that's paying you £125 a month, it's not really fair. Yeah. So even ethically as a coach, you kind of have to adapt that program and the way that it gets delivered to the different parties. But also the only thing that I have, is like coaches, I think where coaches go wrong with the low ticket and high ticket thing is mixed marketing messages. So I think you should have one core offer.
Yeah.
So that might be your signature £250 a month program that helps this specific niche.
Yeah.
Try and fill that up as much as possible, but have something that maybe you don't necessarily promote, but it's there in the background for the people that don't quite meet that criteria, but they want to get there.
There we go.
That way you can fulfill that. Cool. Easy price point, nice and low. They can still get a program. They still get to work with you. But they meet that criteria. But you're always trying to push and sell the main one.
Yeah.
And you might have even an internal one that's even a little bit higher with some extra touch points that, again, you might only promote internally, sorry.
Yeah.
And that way you fix having any mixed signals with your messaging and stuff, because you're only trying to fill out the main one. And once that's filled out, you've got these other options. It might be a group program. It might be you do a pay challenge every 8 weeks. There's loads of different ways you can actually do low ticket.
Yeah.
And that way, like, you've got all these things running, which you have multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
But I think coaches F it up where they're just trying to sell everything in their marketing message, and that kind of messes you up.
Yeah. Don't panic and just, sometimes they get obsessed with that. And I think the real problem is because a lot of coaches already have the mind state of that people can't afford it. It's one of the most common statements I hear from these coaches is just like, you hear the silliest thing. Someone said that, South Asians, I don't think South Asians can afford. I said, bro, like, some of my best mates, they driving around Porsches and all that. Like, what are you on about? They got bread, bro. South Asians got bread as well. Like, so it just shows someone's coming with some, mess mentality. So another person said, the mums don't have the money. I was like, what
are you talking about? Mums spend the most on fitness, I
mean, like a lot of mums can actually, exactly what you said.
They spend the most on fitness.
So, people already come with their preconceived doubts and limited beliefs around coaching and money, right? So when you give them the low ticket option, they now start going for it. So they start like leading with,
right? Because if it's an easy sell,
they're quick to just back into that, right?
Yeah.
And that's not what we're saying. No, it's something like you said to have. And that's after you've really, you found out that someone can't, someone just, it could be straight away in the DMs that they just let you know, or it could be on a call. But when you find out, you get to the bottom of it, and affordability wise, they can't afford a certain price point, that is when you can, now pull out the lower ticket program that you have. But the key thing is that you have it already, mastered. And like you say, you differentiate, because not even just about like ethically, of course, is very important. But for me, the big thing is that your time is your most valuable asset. You can't give someone paying £125 or £100, whatever, the same amount of time that you give a £300 person.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't balance out that way. You might have 20 people on the £300. So, that's X amount, maybe 20 calls a month that you do with them. But then you might have 20 people on, or 30, 40, 50 people on the £100 a month one. So now you've got 60 calls that you could be potentially having to do a month, which is going to stifle your growth. But yet they're not all paying you the same. Why are these people doing the calls with you? Do you know what I mean? It don't make no sense. So yeah, that's what I'd say, man.
So the next thing though is, how does that differentiate when you think about fitness influencers versus like the common coach like you and me, where we just started and we had 2,000 followers or 1,000 followers, versus someone who's already got 100K followers, 200K followers, they've already got audience. So there's obviously a difference in approach to that.
I think, look, man, I think that personally, coaches, you got to be a bit real with yourself. Yeah, there's no point like just saying, well, because sometimes, again, when you tell them to differentiate, they will say, well, you can't do this, you can't message me, you can't do all of that stuff. And my thing is, listen, what are you doing? Like, look at your time in the day. Just that what I'm trying to say to you. What are you doing? Like, you might even say, oh, you can't edit this or you can't change this. Are you that busy? Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? So, like, I would say that you will still give a bit more with those lower tier programs in terms of results. In terms of if someone wants to ask you a question, yeah, definitely, like, you answer the question. Do you know what I mean? So you can still give a really good service with that lower ticket program. You just have to be smart about it. Maybe, you can't have them on WhatsApp, because now they're messaging you at, times, and it just doesn't make sense, right? You can have a controlled environment, create a controlled environment where you can give a higher level of service for a much lesser price, but you just have to know which of these things take up the most time, and then you will remove that from the lower ticket program. With the influencers, they obviously have that authority, they're high demand, they're just aesthetically, people just see them as, higher level, whatever. So they can give less and charge, right? Do you know what I mean? But for you as a coach, you're going to need to, just give a little bit more. And like, you want to give more because then you get more results. So just make sure they can still actually get a result with it, and it's not just crap.
Yeah. And I think with the influencers, it's like, really, their focus should be on making more content and continuing to grow their audience. So they don't even want to get bogged down with doing the high ticket premium one-to-one coaching, because sometimes that can become a bottleneck if they got way too many clients, and they can get a lot of clients, which is, it's a gift and a curse, because we could probably fill their program out with 60 premium one-to-one online clients.
Yeah.
But that's going to require a team, or they're going to have to do more time. They're going to commit more time to it. Yeah. So it's like, it's actually in their best interest to create a really good low ticket program, and maybe have a high ticket program that's really high ticket.
Yeah.
And maybe it's only sold internally or through your personal network because you're such a big influencer that people might WhatsApp you personally to be like, I really want to work with you, but I don't want to be in a group program. Can you do something for me? Yeah. Okay, this is the premium package, but this is not something I promote publicly.
Yeah.
And that way, you can fill out the low ticket. Let's say you can get 500 people in there, 1,000 people in there paying you 20, 30, 40 pound a month. That's already a sick income.
Yeah.
Then you got the high ticket that might be $5,000.
Yeah.
And then it's like, now you're just raking it in, bro, because you got the low ticket, the high ticket, and you're serving multiple people without giving as much time. But a lot of people will say low ticket has high turnover, as in people don't stay. What would you say to that?
Well, I say that it's just the formalities, man. It's the formalities because, again, what you touched on is good there because, you know, you talked about the price point of like people paying 20, 30, 40 pounds. That's a completely different situation than the coaches who are selling, you know, main program, 250, 300 pound a month versus 100, 125. You know what I'm trying to say to you? So the 120, 125 is still money to a lot of people, right? So you have to give them a better service and also you can just, you know, have more of a contract length, you know what I mean? Like an agreement. Whereas the coaches who do the 25 pound, 30 pound, whatever, they might not do any, you know, cancel any time essentially, or they might do, you know, you only have to do, you know, pay it up front for like 6, you know, 3 months or whatever, or for the year. A lot of them actually do because it's so cheap. So I would say personally that for the coaches who are just, you know, trying to scale to that 10K per month or so, with that lower ticket program, I would just have it at like a 3-month minimum and just make it a good program, make it a good flipping program, utilize hiring, because we always talk about undercover coaches, you know what I mean? You can get somebody in the Philippines or someone who's highly educated that can actually manage this thing for you undercover, right? So now you're getting people really great results actually from this. You've just eliminated yourself from the process. Do you know what I mean? And then I think you would still get people stay on. Like some of my clients that were still on low pricing from back then stayed the longest. Do you know what I mean? Like I had a client that was on like paying 125, right? This was what I was charging at that time. And she was with me for like 3 years. Do you know what I mean?
And I think because the price, when you're charging them prices, it's not too mad. Yeah. Sometimes they don't even look at it on their like bank statement or whatever. It's not so much of a hit. Whereas the 250, 300 pound a month, like they know that's coming out, bro. Like it's like they see it.
Yeah, it's purposeful. They know like they're thinking about the length of it. And it's attached to something where,
But then what do you say, and I am a little bit of a believer of this, but what do you say that
I know
the people that pay more, they pay attention, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you say to that? Because I believe that personally, but like, what do you say to that?
No, here's what I think, somebody like they say to like a millionaire or whatever, right? 50K is like the equivalent of what someone who's only, you know, earning 20, 30K a year is their 50 pounds essentially. Do you know what I mean? So it just depends on that person and what they can afford. Do you understand? Because someone having 100K saved up and spending £1,000, £1,500, 2,000, 3,000 is not as much as somebody who has £1,000 saved up and is spending £125 a month. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? Because one of them, like, it's like 5% of their, you know, their what they've got, or 3% or whatever. And then the other person is like 10%, or it might be 20% off. Or some of them might not even have nothing saved, and it's like a lot for them. So I just think it's in the perspective and it's relative to the person in front of you. So that's what I would say. Do you get what I mean? It's not always necessarily, because that £125 to that person might be a lot. So they are, you know, or considerable amount. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would say. And also I just think even in general, regardless of what the person's got, it's always very much person to person. It's person to person, man. You got to kind of, there's other things that can get somebody more engaged and more, you know, dedicated to it rather than just like they're paying more.
Yeah,
then
that's
you
true.
do get people who pay 3K up front
And they don't do anything. Shit. They don't do anything. Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
someone paid, you know, American guy, I remember he's paying 3K for the thing where he's paying 333 a month or something like that, right? And he just wasn't he just,
Yeah.
and I'm jumping on calls. I'm like, bro, we can do this, man. Don't work, like, let's do this. And he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So-
No, it's true. I remember, I'll never forget how this guy, he paid me $900 for 3 months, up front. Boom. After the first week, disappeared. Sent him voice notes, sent him a selfie video on WhatsApp, sent him a message in the app, email. It got to the point where it's like, all right, like after 2 weeks of chasing you, this is mad.
You know why though? Probably why? Because it wasn't a big deal for him.
It wasn't a big deal for him. Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal for him. Like that was probably like 1% of what he had.
Yeah.
So it wasn't moving. So that's why I think like it is really relative.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you need to spend more, man. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like, you spend more, man.
Because ultimately, the low ticket person, even though sometimes we have this belief that people pay more, they pay attention. The low ticket person or the high ticket person, it doesn't really matter as long as they follow the program. Like, so if they join, because let's be honest, the actual workouts that you give them, they could find it on Google or YouTube or ChatGPT if they really wanted to, right? So essentially, if they just follow the workout, they're gonna get a result. The difference is just the way that it's delivered. But if I sign up to a $20 app or £200 a month program, as long as I do the program, I'm gonna get results.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's the person's like their ability to just follow and get shit done that decides whether they're gonna be successful or not.
Yeah.
And they can still get a result. So yeah. So the low ticket, I don't think it affects lead quality that much. I still do think that when people pay more, they pay attention, but it does kind of, it doesn't, it is relative. It is relative.
And with that, what was I going to say again? A big part of keeping them is the community.
Yeah.
The community is very important. So if we go into like what someone gets versus in low ticket versus high ticket is obviously very more personal. Do you know what I mean? It's more like they get your, talking to them, maybe some face-to-face calls, and then they get their programming and stuff like that. And, maybe they can get some variety and you can change things up if they need to. The low ticket, they don't really get no one-to-one calls, depending on how much you're charging. You might do one at the beginning, could do one every 60 days, something like that. They don't get the ability for things to be changed all the time, but they still get like a personalized plan and a nutrition plan and stuff like that. But the thing that they should both get is access to a community, so access to whether it's a Facebook group, a WhatsApp group, or maybe not a WhatsApp group, but like a Telegram group or inside your app or whatever like that. Access to webinars, maybe you do webinars once a month, a couple times a month, stuff like that. So by giving them both access, it helps. It only helps you because your community grows bigger. You've got more people supporting and helping each other, and it helps with the retention with both parties anyway, right? So that's what I would 100% say.
Yeah, and I think that the community thing, especially for the low ticket, is going to keep people around longer, man.
100%.
Keep people around longer. Because also, if they're not going to get one-to-one, having a community element is where they're going to get that one-to-one.
Exactly.
Especially if you're doing webinars and stuff like that. That gives them an opportunity to ask those personal questions that they want to know.
Yeah.
Maybe they can't message you directly throughout the week, but they get a chance to hop on a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That makes all the difference, man.
100%.
That makes all the difference for sure.
Yeah. So low ticket and high ticket this year in 2024, yeah?
I think coaches can do both, man. I think you can do both. There's no reason why, man. And
yeah, that's a big thing. AI, bro. AI, that's one of my reasons. There's no excuses no. Back when we was doing it and was our early days, the reason why they were so big on one funnel, one this, one that is because everything took so much longer.
Right, yeah.
It took so much longer. So it's like, you don't have that much time. You have to really split your time well. Onboarding a new client, it can be very hard. And, but I think both the use of hiring and AI, you can 100% take on a lot more people. You shouldn't be turning down as much people as some may say. Do you know what I mean?
And I think the key thing here is, and this is not for influencers, but more for coaches, online coaches that are maybe, less than 10K followers or whatever. The key thing is to always sell your main signature program, but be flexible, be adaptable on your sales calls.
Yeah.
And have an actual product ready
product
for the people that are just not, logistically, they cannot do your program right now.
Yeah.
Have that ready because you can sell it. You can, and when you build your email list, you've got a list of maybe people that didn't close. You can start marketing it to them, and then you can have sales going consistently.
Yeah.
And that's something that we try to do. We have the low ticket program. The product is £97.
Yeah.
You know, we remind our audience maybe 1 or 2 times a week that, hey, don't forget that. I know you couldn't work with us now. It's a big investment, but you got this, and this is going to get you started. This is what's going to help you to afford to work with us in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with fitness. Maybe you can't do this now, but our program is going to be ready for you when you get to this level. Boom, boom, boom. So,
facts, man. And you know what? Because they're gonna jump on calls with people. Times, you should jump on with us, but a lot of them we jump on with other mentors and whatnot. And a lot of people will tell you, again, don't sell another product, do the one thing, whatever. And I want you to always think about this, right? Ask yourself, does that person selling it to you have only one product? Because that's the thing that a lot of them, you'll catch a lot of them up with that. It's very rare you'll find one of them that only has one product. They've either got an ascension model or they've got different types of products, or they got this side and another side. So most of the successful mentors, they have multiple products. You get an odd few, or their marketing and their system, that their product sort of system is more complex. There's more to it. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'd say, man. Definitely, all money in.
Cool. All right. So if you're trying to grow your online coaching business this year, don't just limit yourself. That's what I would say. That's kind of the main thing. Don't limit yourself to one product.
No.
Like, be flexible, be open, and trust me, you will grow. Your revenue streams will increase. You'll have multiple revenue streams through your coaching business. And it's all centralized because you're the main person that's going to be running it. So that's the key thing. So if you found this useful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give the podcast a rating. We're really trying to push it this year, man, being more consistent, dropping more episodes, and I think that if you're a coach, like, all you got to do is listen to a few episodes and get the value out of it, and you can start making wins already. I say that this podcast gives you more value than certain courses out there. So take action. Yeah, take action, man. There's no gatekeeping over here. So like, share, subscribe. It's the Online Health Business Podcast. My name's Jav. Coach Michael in the building. We're out. Boom. Peace.